You are 10 minutes into your 30-minute virtual session. You've shared the objective, made clear why the group is covering the topic today, connected what the scholars are learning to what's happening in the real world, and you've finished most of your explicit instruction. You're up to the portion in your lesson where the scholars are about to apply what you just taught them with you. And one of the least convenient things that can happen to you as an educator happens. A scholar who's enrolled in your class pops in. Naturally, you go through a roller coaster of emotions, thinking, what do I do? Ignore. That sounds good. It's their fault they're late. If I stop the lesson to catch them up, it will make the other scholars feel like I wasted their time. But I know that's not the right thing to do. Besides, they might get disruptive or completely disengage if I do that. All right, you think, let me reteach. Maybe a few of the scholars didn't get it the first time through. I also probably wasn't that clear. Besides, I missed an example that I really wanted to share. Reteaching will really allow me to nail it this time. But then the scholars won't have any time to apply what they learned. While both of those are options, and one is slightly better than the other, neither of them is the right approach. Whenever a latecomer joins a session, it's essential to integrate them without disrupting the ongoing lesson. As soon as you notice a new participant, briefly acknowledge their arrival to make them feel welcome. Depending on who the scholar is and where you are in your lesson, you will want to tailor your approach from there. There are, however, a few things you can do prior to your lesson to make sure that when a newcomer does join, you're prepared. Here's 3 tips prior to the lesson. First, imagine this will happen. Second, summarize each portion of the lesson in a document on your computer that you can easily reference. And third, have key takeaways that include online resources to review the topic. First, imagine a scholar coming late to the lesson and ask yourself, what one thing does every scholar need to know by the end of the session for you to be able to continue the topic next class? Write it down. During the lesson, make sure this is shared 3 to 4 times. So regardless of when a scholar joins, they will get the most important part of the lesson. Next, by having summaries of what you're teaching in each portion of the lesson, you can use the chat feature to send the summaries directly to the late-coming scholar or to the entire group without having to restart the lesson from scratch. Lastly, at the end of the lesson, share the key takeaways and a couple of resources that any scholar can access to reinforce the lesson. Doing that gives the latecomer and any other scholar in the class another place they can go for the content. Here's a pro tip. Depending on the age and the level of comfort of your group of scholars, especially the comfort they have with the content, you can also use them indirectly to integrate the latecomer during the lesson by using a check for understanding. Since 10 minutes into a 30-minute session, you're most likely at the phase in your lesson where the group is applying their learning. All you have to do is ask them why they approach the problem in that way. Of course, you'll want to do it in a way that's a little more specific. Here's a few examples you could use. Can you explain why you approach the problem in that way? Or how did you know to do it in that way? Or what did you learn earlier in the lesson that helped you solve this problem? This benefits the latecomer because they're getting a preview into what they missed, possibly filling gaps. It benefits you as an educator because you'll know what resonated and what didn't, so you can better prepare your future lessons. And most importantly, it benefits the scholar who's sharing because it allows them to share their thinking out loud and teach, which reinforces their own learning. As educators, our role is pivotal in preparing and facilitating these sessions. By ensuring that each scholar, no matter their arrival time, is welcomed and integrated smoothly, you provide a learning experience that's not only enriching, but also inclusive.